Hey friends, this is Melody Ringo again. Welcome to my limiting beliefs release ceremony. This is part one. We're going to do it indoors for this part so that we don't have to stand outside and freeze to death while we're doing the actual release. So, I selected today, or actually I originally selected yesterday to do this. And one of the reasons I did that was because of the significance of yesterday's date, which is the 7th of February. Well, it's really the 7th is the number 7 is what's important here. And I was a bit disappointed that I wasn't able to do this yesterday because it was raining. And so after I did my intro video yesterday, I went out and looked up the significance of both the number 7 and the number 8. And I found something very powerful that I thought might be inspiring to some of you as well. So I'm just going to read the significance of these numbers of doing this ceremony on these days. The number 7 is represented in the Bible as meaning the completion and perfect of things that are both physical and spiritual. The reason for this meaning comes from the time it took God to create all things. The number 7 is represented 735 times in the Bible. The number 8, which is today's date, signifies resurrection and regeneration. It is the number of a new beginning. Yay! Releasing limitations, right? It's a new beginning. 8 is 7 plus 1, and since it comes just after 7, which itself signifies an end to something, so 8 is also associated with the beginning of a new era or that of a new order. Wow. So then I also have to explain the significance of the color yellow, which I'm wearing today and which also has a part to play in my release ceremony. The color yellow stands for eternal life and glory. In many points in the Bible, a yellow glow signifies godliness and spiritual status. So, okay, now we're going to talk a little bit. I'm not going to make this long, but as I was going through this process of identifying the limiting beliefs in my life, there were really 3 that stood out over and over and over and over again. So I'm not going to read to you the details, but I'm going to read to you what each of them are, and then the positive affirmation that I have chosen to speak over them today. The first one is, it costs too much. I won't explain why I have held that belief, but it's been a lifelong mindset for me. So my affirmation is, this lying mindset has kept me playing small rather than living in abundance. So as of today, it must go. The second one is fear of failure. That too has been with me since childhood. And there are details behind that, but that's not important today. The affirmation is, as of today, February 8th, 2019, I refuse to remain stuck in the fear of failure any longer. So today, that limiting belief must go. And the third one is a limiting belief that has only really taken hold of me since I left the corporate world and retired early. But it's fear of success. And that's a little trickier, but I don't want to get too detailed today. So I guess what I'm going to just summarize it and say, I'm not afraid to become successful necessarily. I just am afraid to become successful and then have that success change who I am as a person. because I want to be able to focus on succeeding so that I can help other people. Not so much to help myself, because I feel like I'm already doing fine in many areas. So the affirmation for this one is, today I will release the fear of success, the lying fear of success, that limiting belief, so that I can focus instead on being able to bless others as abundance comes into my life. Okay, so now it's time to do a little show and tell. I decided when Natasha was talking, whoops, I don't know how to do this, that I was going to write my limiting beliefs down on paper and release them via a helium balloon into the sky, release them to God, into the universe, wherever they go. So I started out thinking I was going to roll the paper up and paper clip it to the bottom of the balloon, but that proved to be too heavy. So I had to keep changing the plan. So I taped some of them on here. I taped these down here, and I did the hearts because it's Valentine's month. But I cut the hearts at the bottom to make them look like wings, so that when I release them to God, they'll fly away forever. So anyway, that's what I decided to do. And so I have to go outside to do that part, and I have little other little hearts. I had to cut the papers up because they were just too darn heavy. And you would think that, having spent 20 years working in the aerospace industry, that I'd have a little more of a concept of aerodynamics. But it's been a learning curve here for me, trying to figure out how to get this done. In fact, I had so many limitations that I had to go back to the dollar store and get a second balloon, because one balloon wasn't enough to carry all of my limitations to the sky. So here we go, folks. The next time you see me, I will be outside, and I'm going to recruit my husband to hold the camera so that we can do the release ceremony, but it will be basically in silence, and it will not take very long. So that'll be part 2 coming up here shortly. Stay tuned.